Well, as we slowly come to know and to create a new normal, lots of wonderful things are happening in our churches. We've just begun to have our churches open for masses on Sundays. A lot of the things that we would have been doing earlier in the spring are now being planned, and most especially our parishes are preparing to focus attention on their catechumens and their candidates. The catechumens are the ladies and gentlemen who have been preparing for over a year to be baptized in the church. The candidates are those who were baptized but not members of our faith community. And each parish is deciding on when and how they will in fact mark what would have happened at the Easter Vigil. We owe an awful lot to those catechumens and candidates because they call us to take a good second look at how we cherish our faith or not. And as a matter of fact, we owe the candidates and catechumens an awful lot of credit because way back in the beginning days of the church, they were the ones who really helped the church to introduce the season of Lent. As we are all aware, during the great Easter Vigil is when we welcome the candidates and catechumens to the church, and that happened in the early church as well. And it was interesting that as those who were going to be baptized at the Easter Vigil marked their preparation, and as their journey led closer and closer and closer to the great Easter Vigil, their joy became so great that at the Easter Vigil, those who were already a member of the community marveled at the joy and said, we want some of that joy as well too. We want some of that excitement of their faith that we see as they're being baptized and welcomed into the church. And that's how the church established the season of Lent. So that all Christians every year in preparation for the Easter Vigil, in preparation for welcoming others into the church, it was an invitation for people to become just as excited about those new Christians were about their faith. Well, it's interesting that as you and I listen carefully to the words of Jesus today, what a great teacher he was, huh? He always was able to use symbols that we all can understand and apply them on our spiritual journey. And so today, what does Jesus say? You are the salt of the earth. And you and I know not only the components of salt, but what it does. How it excites our taste buds. It gives flavor to food. It makes us maybe want to eat more. And in a particular way, when Jesus uses that term to say, you are the salt of the earth, he is asking all of us to do what the catechumens and the candidates way back in the beginning days of the early church did, and hopefully what the candidates and the catechumens in our own day call us to do. To get excited, to get revved up about our faith, about what it means to be disciples of the Lord Jesus. And so today we can take a look at the man whose memory we celebrate today, Ephraim. Already mentioned, he was a deacon, great preacher, writer, poet, knew music. And there was something about him, his deep love for the Lord, that was able to express itself in all of his various arts that were components of the gifts that God gave him, in which Ephraim was like the salt of the earth. He was able to get the people in his own day excited about their faith. What seems to me that that's what the Lord is looking for from you and me when he tells us, as he told his earlier listeners, you are the salt of the earth. And so maybe it's a good idea for us today to think about that invitation, that challenge from Jesus. That you and I are called to be the salt today that can bring people closer to Jesus. It may be a way in which we use our gifts and talents. It might be a way in which we listen carefully to what someone else needs to pour out upon our own hearts. It may be the way in which we promise somebody we're going to remember them in prayer. The numbers of ways in which we can be salt of the earth and lead people closer to God are legion. But the task, the challenge, the invitation is real. Jesus tells you and me, you are the salt of the earth. Let's embrace Jesus' challenge and do just that. Let's try to get people excited about their faith as we seek to be so in our own.